This is the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where it's all about getting the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Brought to you by Itamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com. Now, here's your host, Kevin Pruitt.
This is the Marketing Umbrella Podcast. My name is Kevin Pruitt. It is my honor to share this podcast with you. And our guest today is the co-founder and CEO of Rocketlane, a company specializing in customer onboarding platforms. He's got a strong passion for customer experience and startups. His professional journey includes founding and scaling SaaS businesses over the last decade. Prior to Rocketlane, he founded Conator, a mobile-first user engagement platform that he didn't like the name of, that was acquired by Freshworks in 2015. This acquisition turned out to be a significant growth vector for Freshworks, with the product evolving into what is now known as Freshchat. But today we want to focus on Rocketlane. Please join me in welcoming Sri Ganesan to the Marketing Umbrella Podcast. Sri, thanks again for joining us.
Kevin, thanks for having me on today.
These intros are very short and sometimes they sound kind of sterile. So round it out a little bit. You know, you got the floor here. I'm going to give you the mic to, let people have a little more intimate look into Sri's perspective today.
Sure. I think, as you said, this is my second SaaS startup. First one, 2012 to 2015. After the acquisition by Freshworks, spent 4.5 years there. In that journey, Freshworks scaled from around 18 million ARR to 220 million in that 4.5 year period. And I think it was sort of a golden time for us as a team. We felt like we were going to a SaaS school and learning every day. And that gave us it gave us confidence to come out and say, let's do one more. But it also almost made it feel like we're not doing justice to what was given to us if we don't go out and do one more.
I love that perspective.
The same co-founders this time as well. So, continuing the partnership, which I've heard is not very common. I think maybe if you have a happy exit together, then you tend to partner together again. And that's what happened for us last time. And this journey, it's been 4.5 years for us. Building Rocketlane, again, been a fascinating journey. One thing I would say, since you said about myself, very active in community building of different kinds, whether it is, getting together with founders, building SaaS products and sharing learnings. So we have a community of SaaS founders in Chennai in India, which is where we started the company. I'm trying to do the same in Lehigh in Utah, which is where I live now. And we have a larger SaaS community in India called SaaS Boomi, which again, I'm a core volunteer of, very passionate about, learning from others and helping others learn from each other. And in fact, the interesting thing we did was for Rocketlane, we also started industry community called Preflight for people in implementation, onboarding, professional services type work. And that has around 3,500 people now. Community is called Preflight. And we launched this 9 months before we launched our product. So just an interesting nugget there.
I love that. And I love the idea that, you're talking about you're focusing on community. And, so often I think when founders talk about that, or when those that are kind of generating like engagement within a community, within a company, they're saying we're building community, but it has like an end in mind. It's not altruistic. It's not, the idea that says we're actually building community for the sake of community, not for the sake of an ulterior, a secondary motive. And there are certainly benefits to that, but I think people that are joining that can probably tell, pretty quickly, the motives behind that. It's funny you talked about you kind of have the same founding team starting this second endeavor you're doing. I would think post exit that people would have different, that the founding team would have different desires of what's next. I mean, some are just driven. They would do it for free because that's just who they are. Some are like, man, we did it well. I don't want to risk, going down that path again because I don't know that we could do it again the same way. What makes a team stay together post exit?
The way I think the last exit was, you can say, definitely life changing for all of us. It was enough of an exit that we and all of us are from similar backgrounds, grew up as friends, and we had equal outcomes, and that sort of
Mhm.
helped us be on the same page as to, hey, safety is not something we need to worry about again. We're all in a very good place, and now maybe we can take a much bigger bet and try to do something,
Mm, I love it. Yeah.
really big. And the downside isn't really much other than maybe, you have a certain pride of having done something successful. Can we replicate success again and feel proud about it was the only thing. And I felt maybe all of us thought about it the same way, that
Hmm.
doesn't hurt to try. And as long as we don't come in with big egos, and we're just here to learn and do something fun together, and try to build a world-class company.
Right.
Try to bring on people who align with that mission of building a world-class company. That's pretty much, I would say, the big mission is that it's not a specific product idea. It's not anything else. It's like,
Hmm.
how do we create a world-class company? And I think that alignment helps us focus on the same things together and have a happy journey together.
So it seems to be it's kind of a muddy line between a world-class product and a world-class company. What's the goal? Is the goal that Rocket Lane is the product? It's one product, it's designed for one thing only, or is Rocket Lane more of an ideology that maybe has like a whole catalog of product solutions under it? What are you trying to build?
It's the latter. So, what we have today, which, for those who are listening and would love for you to check it out, it's, uh, we all use project management tools. And if you're a marketing agency, for example, you may be using a Basecamp or a Asana or a Monday.com
Hmm.
and working with customers. If you're a different kind of professional services team, you may be using a Smartsheet or something else. And then we also use this category of tools called PSA, Professional Services Automation, for like the time tracking,
Yeah.
planning your resources, invoicing the customer, doing the right rev rec, etc. We built a very purpose-built all-in-one solution for customer-facing project delivery teams, and uh, gone very deep and broad with the product. And I think that sort of lends itself really well for smaller teams to pick up something, start using it, and keep growing into using more and more of the platform. But also, we can take the same product and go straight to a larger team that has more complex use cases and work with them as well. More than 500 customers today, and all of them enjoying using the product. Lots of, we've quickly catapulted to being number one in our category on G2 and so on. But this is just the beginning.
Right.
We've built a, we've used this unification play of sorts to say this is the all-in-one product.
Hmm.
But when I talk about world class, it's not about just this product. It's about, and I think our world is changing so fast every
Oh
day,
yeah.
especially with
Yeah.
AI, that you can't have this, one product approach. We are already building our second product, which is
Yeah.
the AI first product.
Hmm.
We are also, launching I think we already launched this week, an AI add-on to our existing product, which
Hmm.
complements it in certain ways, but extends it in certain ways as well. And for us, it's about how do we solve customer problems in a way in which our company has the right momentum going for it as well. And we believe momentum solves a lot of problems.
Mm.
Momentum creates growth for people, the company, People who join us need to have that consistent growth in
No,
what they're doing as well. And I think momentum solves that as well
that
in
might
good
keep them
ways.
around too. That helps your
Absolutely.
even employee retention for sure.
Yep.
Uh, so often that when we look at products like this, that kind of the origin or the genesis of the project was like an internal itch that the person had. I've looked around for project management tools. I've looked around for this journey that you're trying to build, and it just didn't exist. And you're thinking, you know what, we're just going to have to build it because we need this. I mean, did you need this internally, or did you just say, hey, we understand there's a gap in the market right here and we're going to fill it?
So a little bit of both, in the sense that the when we were getting out of Freshworks in 2019, end of 2019, we had a bunch of problem areas we identified from our journey. We said, hey, these are things that look like interesting problems to solve. One of them was how we ran our implementations with our customers felt broken. Felt like there was anxiety with the customer, anxiety
Mm-hmm.
internally around will we launch on time with the customer. So this was a customer facing project which was being handled with spreadsheets and internal project management tools and email communication, Slack channels shared with the customer,
Post-it
whatnot.
notes.
Yeah, and still me as the leader of the business unit, I didn't have visibility into where did we truly stand on a project. You had these
Right.
implementation folks who would be optimistic about catching up with the project and making up for last time and always give me a happy picture. Or you would have like the project manager with the PMP who's flagging all the risks all the
Mm-hmm.
time. We didn't know where there was comfort, and we thought there must be a more system driven way of doing this. The customers also seeing things as a black box until they have this weekly status update email going out to them. How can we bring everyone on the same page?
Mm-hmm.
How can we get more active feedback from the customer? That got us thinking about this space. We went and
Mm-hmm.
validated. We spoke to around 60 companies. I would say probably 40 of them were other tech companies, SaaS companies that had implementation teams, because we said that is one area where we clearly see there is a lot of value if you manage to accelerate those go lives, and if you manage to bring a certain rigor and intensity into each partnership with a customer,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to help you grow much more with those customers. And then we also went to services companies, marketing agencies, etc., and said, hey, you also have the same problem. How
Yeah.
are you working with customers? And we felt there were some purpose-built tools which were built for very, very small agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't give enough measurement. If you look at like a base camp type thing, which is very common in marketing agencies.
Right.
And then there were the general purpose marketing project management tools like ClickUp, Asana, etc., which people commonly use, which
Right.
didn't have this customer facing angle to it,
Mm-hmm.
at least not built ground up for that.
Mm-hmm.
And there we identified here are ways in which we can innovate and bring differentiation, which is valuable to the customer. How can we make something 5x, 10x better was
Right.
what we were looking at. And we felt this was a clear gap, very large space, and so worth attacking.
I would absolutely second the fact that it's a very large space, but and it is interesting because when I looked at a demo earlier this morning about Rocket Lane, I'm thinking the first thing that came to my mind was like this is kind of like on a Trello framework or a Asana framework or whatever, but I'm thinking it has so many more features that are and they're categorized pretty clearly to address different aspects of the journey that you're looking at. So yeah, it's interesting that there's always kind of this balance between the off-the-shelf solution and the here's some features I need. I would think that you all would really struggle with just the feedback, constant feedback of people asking for things and how, I would be curious to hear what's your process of determining, is this a feature worth adding or is this just one-off, a request here?
Yeah, in a way, I would say we are a little bit more inside out as a company. build products which have an opinion about what's the right way to do something, which also means it's very often us working with customers to help them with, here's how you do XYZ, here's how you get value from the solution. And that helps us keep the product to, we don't have to add every damn option out there to, every possible configuration, which usually results in a lot of complexity to continue building, continue servicing over a period of time. It slows you down when, you want to add more features if you need to test for every possible configuration of the product. So we've taken that approach. At the same time, we also understood that project management needs a lot of flexibility. People like to work on, I prefer a Kanban view, I prefer a board view, a list view, a Gantt view.
Yeah, Gantt chart,
and so the optionality over there we provided. But then if you want to accomplish certain things, there'll be certain ways to do them in Rocketlane, which make it easy once you unlearn how you were doing it in a previous platform and learn how to do it in Rocketlane. But the bigger thing I would say is we focused on a lot of big differentiation, which makes it apples and oranges comparison with any other platform. So you're no longer fighting on features. You're asking the customer, is this more important, or is this little enhancement you wanted more important?
Yeah.
And give you a couple of examples. We have this AI note taker, which allows you to auto glean the right information from different kinds of calls and put it into documents and emails that you want to send out. So it's not your Zoom or Teams recording, which is giving you a standard summary. Instead, this is allowing you to build and templatize prompts that can go into different kinds of documents. You can say, hey, here is a kickoff, post kickoff email. Here is what I want to glean from a kickoff call and add into this email. So this section, here's what my prompt is. This section, here's what my prompt is. Standardize it. Likewise, here is the requirements document. Here's what I want to take away from a requirements call. Or here is like a goal document. Here is a, pre-go live checklist for a implementation project. So you can templatize different kinds of documents and add these placeholders with prompts into these documents, email templates, etc. And that really helps do so much more documentation, which I think a lot of customer-facing teams miss out on. And later, when there's an escalation, they're wondering why it happened. So this has been a great time saver and a great way to keep everyone aligned internally, externally on why decisions were made a certain way, what transpired over a period of time, etc. And that's been a big unlock for customers, right? So these kind of big features are like feedback, CSAT natively built into the product, or internal comments that you can add on a document which are not shared with a customer on a shared document. So a lot of areas where we built strong differentiation where customers are able to appreciate that. And so it is a trade-off they will make to move to us from something that they're very familiar with. We're not going to provide all of the options they had, but it will be more impactful and effective for them to make that switch still.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an automobile. It might have 50 bells and whistles on it, but you only use 15, normally. So, but these 15 are really crucial, that you need. And it is. I mean, we've interviewed a lot of people in the SaaS space, on our podcast, and it's interesting as in the development side of things, like how they determine. What is your internal decision tree that says, are we going to add this feature or not? I love the fact that you said we can start with a bias, of what we think is good practice, and then, kind of work from there and say, okay, what's the most important features that maybe the community at large needs, that we're trying to reach. So I like that. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not saying we don't listen to customers though.
No. There's still a feedback loop.
We're actively listening, but then we take a call based on like digging deeper with them. What's the impact of this? What's the business value for you? And are you able to do this on other platforms that you used before? In a way, if someone says there's huge impact and I couldn't do it elsewhere, then even more reason for us to do it. and we want to quantify all of that, right? We want to make sure that we understand why there is so much value in something. And once we see a pattern, we have enough people we can validate with in our customer base, in our community, etc. We quickly do that, do a little bit of discovery, come back with a potential solution. We don't ask for like the feature request, but rather tell me more about the problem and let us tell me your potential solution, but we'll also come up with our options of how to solve the problem. We'll then run it with a bunch of folks, get alignment, then go and build it.
I would want to dig a little deeper into the product here in just a moment, but I noticed something on another chat that you had done online. You had from what I remember, there was a unique approach to funding that fundraising. You want to talk about the unique approach that included, from what I remember, maybe rap music that you want to include. I
Yeah.
think our listeners would
Yeah.
love to hear that story.
Yeah. So I definitely would want to share the videos as well because we're super proud of both the rap songs that
Hey,
we
if
put
you'll
out
you'll send us the notes. We'll make sure it's in the podcast notes for sure.
Sure. So there's a content marketer who applied to join us back in 2021. This was before our fundraise. And I was like, hey, this person seems familiar. And, when I was interviewing, and I figured that I had seen a rap song that he had made for one of our customers and as a freelancer. And now he was looking for like a full-time gig. And I thought, hey, you know what? It is a neat skill. Now, admittedly, that video did not, very often music videos made for startups have that cringe feeling to it.
I love it.
Uh, and so I was skeptical, but we hired him for content marketing overall, and we said, hey, there's the additional skill he brings, which is he's a mature rapper, he's a mature stand-up comic. So maybe there's more we can do. And in a way, at Rocketlane, one of the things I would say we have focused on is we're not just a software provider, we're also trying to be a thought leader in the space, which means we need to build an audience, which means we need to behave like a media company in some ways. And so if you're a media company, it's advantageous to have a stand-up comic and a musician on our side.
For sure.
So you said, let's give it a shot. Let's bring him in. And, one of the first things that happened once he was in was we actually did a Series A fundraise. And he pitched the idea of, hey, I can make a song to celebrate this. And we said, okay, we can make it and then we can decide whether we want to use it or not.
Yeah.
And I just gave some inputs on here's what can go into our story so far. And he came back with like the lyrics in one shot. This was pre-ChatGPT days, so it was something that he did on his own. And I loved like how it covered everything in our journey till that point. I was amazed that I didn't have to do like a revision with him on what it was. And then he set it to some music and it was fantastic. We did like an internal video shoot for it. Cost us like $200. That's pretty much what the whole thing cost us. But it was a huge, huge hit when we launched it. There was a former MTV VJ who tweeted it out as well. So we got like 100,000 views on the first day.
So not just internal, you're talking about externally. Wow.
Yeah. The Rocketlane story so far, if you find it on YouTube, it was really fantastic. The team enjoyed making it. Everyone was proud of it. It helped us with that, hey, we are world-class narrative because this was a world-class production video. People were amazed that it was done in $200, but it wasn't like one of the videos that,
yeah, like you
cringe.
said, cringe factor.
Yeah. Now, Series B, we got the idea again of why not make another app. I was skeptical. I thought we can't top what we did before. There's a fine line between like a well-made video and something that's not going to feel nice. And so I was worried. But then, we said, okay, let's make it. Let's decide whether we want to use it or not, but let's make it again. And I think, the team actually took it up a few notches. It wasn't equal to the previous video. It was much better.
Mm.
And I was surprised. And again, super hit. I think more than people looking at it just that one day of like press release and PR around things. It's continued to give us dividends because it's now our Zoom waiting room video. So whenever someone gets on a call with us, we join a minute and a half late. We have a breather between calls, and people are being entertained in that time.
Yep.
And it forms an impression about the company in their minds. They understand the culture, they understand the quality, they appreciate what we're doing. And I think that's helpful to hire new candidates. It's helpful to, make impact on investors. It's helpful to make impact on prospects. So huge returns from those videos.
I love it. Please do make sure that we have the URLs for the show notes. We can include those because I think people would really love to see them. But let's kind of talk just about the product itself. So if you had to define the product, for our audience to say, okay, here's the two main features that Rocketlane does. Here's the three main, problems we're trying to solve. How would you describe that? Like if you and I were in an elevator going up, 5 floors and you had 30 seconds to kind of just capture all that, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say for any services team, services business, it could be an agency, consulting firm, internal implementation team in a tech company, etc. There are two sides to that business. One side is how do I work with my customers? How do I, collaborate with them? How do I standardize my way of working? How do I have the right governance around it? How do I have the right experience for the customer, right experience for my team internally? And they're not equal, they're different kinds of experiences. How do I get timely feedback? That whole partnership with the customer, that's one side. And the other side is my internal stuff, right? Like how do I staff an upcoming project? How do I make sure that we're investing the right amount of efforts into each project, commensurate with the size of project, the revenue from that project, etc. How do we make sure that we are invoicing customers on time, giving finance what they need to recognize revenue the right way, etc. Right? So the back end operational side of things, the front end customer facing side of things, we've sort of solved both of those beautifully in one tool. And the advantage is now if my project schedule changes, I just make one change on the project schedule. It reflects in my resource view to say, hey, this person is now available, not available till such period of time.
Yeah.
The governance, if you say, hey, by the time I get to phase 2 of my project, I should have spent around 20% of my budgeted hours on this project. If I go over that, then alert my leader.
Yep.
So things like that help you keep your, margins intact, help you get ahead of problems. And then the way of working with the customer as well. Here's how I want to do my meeting notes. Here's how I want to standardize the kinds of documents we create in a customer, in an engagement with a customer. Here's how I want to have like a UX for my partnership with the customer, where the customer can very easily come and consume what's happening, approve things they need to approve, give us feedback in a timely manner, see what they need to do next or what they're responsible for. It's about accountability. It's about the history and the future of the partnership, all of it being reflected in beautiful modern UI. And it's not something that the customer needs to learn to use. It's like a website-ish experience, which is easy, friendly for consumers.
Yeah.
So and internally you get all the powerful features to automate things and, do your work with ease. That's sort of what we've built.
Is there an overlap or an integration between those two that says, okay, if I'm changing the schedule, if I'm off schedule, if I'm whatever, does that automatically update how the customers communicated with to kind of manage that relationship as well? I mean, is that integration that tight?
Absolutely. It's the advantage of doing 3 things in one system. We call it our trifecta. There is people and process, that is your way of working. There is customer experience, and then there is like the finances and resources internally. Now, the projects and processes, if there are changes you make there, the customer automatically sees what they need to see. If there is something that's waiting on the customer, they get notified. So there is enough automation in that layer. Likewise, if you need a customer to approve time and for you to bill them, invoice them on time, that coupling is also available. All three pieces working well with each other is what makes it unique and much more valuable than siloed set of solutions.
Right. No, I love it. You've so proactively tried to address, the all sides of that equation, as companies are going to face that. And I love it. So just before we head into our kind of rapid fire round, I want to kind of just drill down to one more quick question around Rocketlane. Is that, it was launched fairly recently. So when exactly did you launch did the product go live?
It's been 3.5 years. So June 2021 is when we launched the product. And lots of amazing logos have come on board. Very popular companies in sales tech, MarTech, etc. The likes of Clary or a SalesLoft or a MoEngage, WebEngage, an OpenGov, Fivetran, lots and lots of very popular logos, Retool, Grafana. So yeah, been a nice ride, successful one in terms
been
of
a nice
the kind
launch.
of
Yeah, in the last, Where do you see it in the next 18 months? You said that, there's going to be certainly an AI, integration that's going to probably be a little bit of a game changer, I would think, for it, because it's not like when, it's if, or I'm sorry, it's not like if, it's when. It's like, you have to have that as, to be in 2025. So what is that going to look like? What do you think how's that going to impact growth?
Yeah, I think the first thing we've done is we've launched our first set of AI capabilities now, which help you with, as I said, auto documenting stuff, automatically creating content for emails to be sent out, etc. And it's giving great results for customers. Now, we are going all in on AI because we feel we are in a very unique point in time in terms of what AI can actually help us accomplish. It's changed very rapidly in the last few months. And if we don't do this, if we don't focus on this, someone else will.
Yep.
And we want to be the ones working as like the default, offering that agencies, consulting firms, implementation teams look to. And there's two parts of the kind of work that these folks do, right? So there's the actual work for a marketing agency, maybe coming up with a new campaign idea. It could be, creating the right creatives, producing a video, etc. And then there's the work around the work, which is, hey, I need to get the right information from the customer to do my work right. I need to, put together a project plan to hold people accountable. I need to follow up with people to get work done. The low-hanging fruit is how can we help with the work around the work and, automate more of it, and also give you intelligence on every account you're working with to understand where the risks lie, where the opportunities lie, who's your detractor in that customer account, who's working well with you, what are their goals, how are things evolving. Can we auto-organize information that we're gleaning from various sources? And then can we also automate your actions you need to do for the work around work? And eventually, can we also help with the work itself? The more we understand and document, the more it gives us the right to go and automate the actual work for you to be a AI teammate for the person doing the work to help them get it done.
Yeah, I love that. That is, everything, it seems like that as you're building this, you have such a holistic, perspective that you're trying to maintain, but yet not, comprehensive enough that it's really trying to address the big rocks, the big issues that you're trying to solve for without adding a lot of fluff or bloat, in the process. So, man, I'm absolutely awed at, what you all have built and are building around this space. And I do want to shift right now. I'm going to honor your time. I know you got a call right after this, but I want to shift to our rapid fire round. These are very quick questions. Just say the first thing that comes to mind and just short, quick answers. There's a reason that we ask these questions because it's integrated in the whole theme of the podcast we're trying to create. But did you get along with your parents growing up?
Oh yeah,
Do you have siblings?
I have a sister, elder sister.
Any pets?
Not anymore.
Children?
Nope.
What time do you wake up on a normal work day?
So I spent 8 months in the US and 4 months in India. When I'm in the US, I wake up at anywhere between 3:30 and 4:30 a.m. And when I'm in India, I wake up at 9 a.m.
Are you trying to match the time zones? I think what time do you go to bed? Is it that's probably a mirror reflection of what you just said on what time you get up.
Yes, yes. India, it's like go to bed at 2:33 a.m. and in the US, go to bed at 8:30, 9:30.
Yeah, if you're gonna get up at 3:30, that's for sure. Ideal vacation spot. Money, not an object. Anywhere in the world.
I love the national parks.
I'm going to say
So
Lehigh's
I think
pretty nice, nice area where you are. What about how does faith affect how you do business?
it does not.
If you were king for a day in the marketing climate, what is one thing you would change about marketing globally?
I would sort of work with everyone to say, let's not bid on each other's brand names so that we're not just paying the Google tax, all of us giving that money free to Google.
We've asked that question a lot. That's maybe the most unique answer that we've ever had to that question. I love very specific in your answer though. Oh man, Sri, thank you so much for just taking time today. It's been a pleasure to hear your story and kind of hear just the things that you guys have learned along the way and just sharing with us kind of those insights and what was the foundation that you kind of tried to build on and the reasons behind it and really sharing your time and trying to help marketing agencies grow and scale their agencies and just help add value to the marketing space as a whole. Sri, thanks again. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Kevin. Enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where we provide the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. To learn more, go to umbrellaus.com.